Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Anime Lounge podcast. I'm your host, Matt, alongside with my other host, Lance. Today, we have a very fun episode. We are going to be covering Season 1 of Tsukimichi. Lance, you want to just give us a quick rundown of what happens in Season 1?
So, we are going to be following Makuto Misumi, who gets isekai'd because of a contract his parents made in their original world, and then he gets hated on by the goddess of that world. She banishes him to the end of the world for being ugly, but luckily his OP powers are awakened by Tsukiyomi, so we don't have to worry much. We will be talking about how Tomoe, the higher dragon, Mio, the black spider, and Shiki, the leech, all join him and expand the Demi-Land. And Season 1 will end with the great fight between the Acer Dragon and Sophia Bolga, and then with us leaving with the knowledge of the existence of two other heroes. So that's all we're going to be talking about right here. Saying this because there's Season 2 out at the moment. We will be covering that in the future. And of course, there's going to be more seasons after that. So just so everyone knows what we're going to be talking about today.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I am very curious. Lance, what did you have for Lance's lessons today?
Today's Lance's lessons is going to be the Japanese word for moon. And moon is Tsuki. Tsuki is spelt Tsuki. And Tsuki is very relevant to today's episode because it's within our title, Tsukimichi. And just so we have everybody on the same page for what Tsukimichi even really means, Tsukimichi more or less means moon guide. And to elaborate a little bit more, one source says, en route to an alternate world guided by the moon. So take either or, and that's kind of what it means.
Okay. Interesting. I have nothing more to say about that. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
It's your standard isekai, like, light novel meaning kind of thing, where it's just like, this is exactly what it is. Here you go. Mm-hmm. And you're just, okay.
Yeah. And also, before we get too far, if anybody is interested in why moon has anything to do with this anime, and that's because of Tsukiyomi, the one who awakens Makoto's abilities in episode 1, and that's because Tsukiyomi is the moon god. So
yes,
he's only relevant in episode 1 so far, and that's why moon is in this title.
Yeah, I remember he gets sent to sleep
for like a long
100 years, I think is what he said.
Oh god, no, he was like, I think he was saying like millennia or something.
Well, that would be 100 years. No, that's 1,000 years.
Yeah.
I thought he said 100 years. It could be 1,000 years. I'm not 100% sure, I guess. I will say, obviously, a very long time. I know for a fact he does say it's beyond Makoto's basically lifetime, his existence. So he will not be able to see him again. And the only reason why he's doing this, or the only reason why he has to go to sleep, is because he helped Makuto.
Yeah.
So did you find out how long it was?
Nope, I didn't write that down.
All right. It's either 100 years or 1,000 years. Either way, very, very long time.
So before we talk about anything anime related, Matt, was there any differences between the anime and the manga? NANI?
Yes. I will say there's a handful of differences. The biggest thing is just added information, which is pretty typical, especially for light novel manga adaptations.
Okay.
For anybody that is interested, this did originate as a light novel. So if you want to go from the absolute original source, go to the light novel. If you want to read what would be Season 2, I suggest to start at chapter 30. You can skip some chapters because it kind of does some back and forth type stuff where it weaves some storylines together beyond what would be the end of Season 1. But the easiest place to start would be chapter 30. As far as differences are concerned, I actually did write it down. So Tsukiyomi needs to rest for 100 years due to helping Makoto.
Oh, interesting. I swear the anime said like 1,000.
He might have, and in the manga they just put 100 years.
Okay.
One nice thing is that you get to kind of understand more of Makoto's like original backstory. So one thing you get to know is that the reason why Makoto takes up archery is that he was kind of sickly, like he got sick often and he just wasn't super strong. So that's why he took up archery, was because he couldn't do was it kendo, which is the bamboo,
the wooden sword. Yeah.
Yep. So he can't do kendo because he would be sick too often, and every time he would try and do it, he would end up getting sick or end up getting hurt. So his parents were like, yeah, no, you're not doing that. You're going to do archery instead.
Okay.
So his mentor told him he couldn't wear his glasses at school events because he was too good. Like, basically, he had to self-handicap him, or he would just win everything, and it wouldn't be fair.
Was there a moment in the anime where he had glasses at all?
Yeah, he wears glasses at school. When he's in school, so when he's not isekai'd, he wears glasses.
Oh, interesting.
One thing that I really like about mangas is that they translate everything. So where they went with Toa for the restaurant is literally just a butcher shop restaurant.
Oh, that's funny. Because they kind of did say that. Like, someone recommended a butcher shop.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just imagine that it would be named something, but it's literally just butcher shop.
It's just, they call it butcher. They don't even call it butcher shop.
Oh,
but yeah.
Okay.
One thing that I like is that they explained Makoto's memories better. So one thing is that all of his memories are in Japanese, which is why they need to be translated.
Ooh. Okay, I'm glad you said that. That makes so much more sense.
Right? I was like, why do they need to be translated? Oh, yeah, because they're in Japanese. Okay, that makes all the sense in the world. So yes, they're in Japanese. And because of the contract Makoto has with Tomoe and Mio, they have the ability to know Japanese.
Okay.
So because he knows Japanese, they know Japanese.
Maybe they would also be able to talk any demi-human language as well.
I feel like they already know those things,
Right.
so it doesn't matter.
They just know every language, period.
Yeah.
And they just so happen to learn Japanese because of the contract.
And they specifically say that in the manga, where it's like, because of the contract, you understand his language.
Interesting. Okay, I like it.
You get to see one question in the merchant exam, and I'm going to run you through it real fast. So it said, if you have 200 items and they cost $20, we'll just say $20. They cost 20 of whatever I think it was 20 gold. You sell them for 100. If you mark 150 at 20% off, what is your total profit? Obviously, I'm not going to make you do the math.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of mental. If it was written down, I could probably.
I could get through it, but yeah. So that was apparently that's like middle school math in Japan, because that's what Makoto says is like this.
Yeah, it was higher middle school. Dealing with percents in middle school, I don't really remember doing that in America.
I remember doing some percentage, but not trying to figure out profit and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad they at least showed an example. That's
you got one. To be a part of the Merchants Guild, it was 10 gold they called it a deposit. So basically it's 10 gold as your initial fee, and then it's your 1 gold for an annual fee.
Okay. Yeah, they didn't say any price tags in the anime, but they did say that there was those fees.
Yeah. So I will say 10 gold is kind of expensive. I want to say 10 gold is like 1 gold is 1,000,000 yen. I think is what it translated to.
Yeah, there was a moment he broke it all down. I don't remember.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's 10 million yen for the essentially registration fee.
Right.
They go into Rembrandt's past, like why he had such a rough past.
Okay.
And basically he had a woman in his past before his wife that he was going to marry. She was the daughter of the biggest merchant in the area. Her father got killed, and then while she was going on a trip, because she took over, she ends up getting murdered too. And that is like some of the fucked up things that happened in Rembrandt's past.
Interesting.
And so after he started to get better is when he met his now wife. So after all that happened is when he met her. The anime that Mio really loved, the robot one.
Yeah.
He only watched that because of his master.
Interesting, because in the anime he didn't say master. It was either because of like his dad made him watch it or like another friend or something like that.
Yeah.
He didn't say master specifically.
Yeah, so the dojo was out of, like, was closed for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yep, we're going to watch this instead.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Tomoe is very suspicious of Rembrandt. So she ends up reading all of his memories, like reading everything. Ooh. To try and get a better idea about his character.
I don't remember a moment them.
That doesn't happen. In the anime, it doesn't happen.
Oh, okay. So Tomoe does personally meet him, and then she's able to evaluate him.
So this happens after the whole lime latte, like, mini arc section.
Okay.
And so she goes and basically goes to the butler, like, sneaks up onto the butler, who, remember, is like the super strong adventurer, sneaks up on him and basically intimidates him because he was going to take out lime latte. And she's like, yeah, he's under me now. Like, you don't need to worry about him. And in the conversation with Rembrandt, she uses her ability to be able to check out his memories. And so she's obviously very suspicious of him. And she's like, oh, yeah, he's got a fucked up past. No wonder why he's yada, yada, yada.
Okay. Well, I guess as far as the anime is concerned, one, we don't know anything about Rembrandt's past.
No.
So why would they show that Tomoe is suspicious of it to begin with?
Because she wants to ensure that nothing happens to Makuto.
Right. It makes sense. But it's probably just a matter of runtime for the anime itself.
Yeah, it's unnecessary, like, to be completely honest.
Just extra detail. Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing is Makuto buys land from a merchant who puts in some, like, messed up fine print that Mio and Tomoe sign.
This is outside the Demiland?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It happens before he talks to Rembrandt about owning a store or like renting a store mm-hmm. or renting a section of the store. He doesn't get the whole store.
Yeah, right.
And this is also before Makuto finds out that basically if you're a merchant in these cities, you essentially have to produce espionage.
Yeah, I remember that being kind of said.
So what happens is Mio and Tomoe buy this land to basically try and figure out what Rembrandt would do because they knew it was essentially a trap and Makuto was going to get fucked if it went through. And it was a ploy against Rembrandt to see how much, or to see what he would do to help Makuto. And Rembrandt ends up going to the guy that makes the contract and intimidates him and was like, hey, I'm going to let your wife know about all your other dealings that you enjoy doing, which apparently this guy likes demi-humans. So that's a no-go for as far as having more than one wife. And
okay.
Basically, if you're a human, you have to only be attracted to humans. And the guy, quote unquote, loses the paperwork and needs to go back to Tomoe and Mio and sign better termed paperwork.
Interesting. Okay. So a lot more detailed stuff as far as
it's a lot of
contracts go and stuff.
It's a lot of information with Rembrandt and that aspect, mm-hmm. which especially knowing what I know for season 2, it's fine. Like, if this would have been a 24-episode season instead of a 12-episode season, I would be kind of frustrated that it's not in there. But as far as a 12-episode season, I'm not concerned.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
This is something you find out about somebody that you're going to learn about in season 2. And if you remember in season 1, they talk about how one of the heroes is from Makuto's world. Mm-hmm. This person is brought up in the manga, basically how they know Makuto and certain interactions that happen with him. I'm trying to say things without giving anything away, but it's a woman in his class and she has feelings for him in the real world. Apparently he had like a harem that he never knew about is basically what's happening because there's a handful of women that liked him.
Which is crazy because he's just so ugly.
And so they talk about how he is a kind-hearted person. Mm-hmm. Like he's a real person. What he shows you is who he is. Mm. And apparently they like that. So
that's what women like?
Apparently, yeah. Weird. It's, not being two-faced is crazy. But so she has feelings for him, and we will find out who she is in the future. Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of, that's something that you see in the manga. I am very curious if we'll see that in season 2. I'm not 100% sure. I don't exactly remember. But yeah, so it's just kind of interesting that we had so what I was going to put is that they explained Makuto's disappearance in his world as he went to go study abroad.
Oh, really? So they gave an actual explanation?
Yeah, they gave an explanation as to why he's not there.
They didn't just wipe his internet history clean and then just poof, he's gone? Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's he's not slime.
Yeah, he didn't die. He's somewhere unknown.
He was summoned to another world. Yes.
Yeah. To another country.
As in life full body. But yeah, that's all I got. So I really enjoyed the fact that they gave an explanation as to why he's gone.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I don't remember a single thing being said.
No. We're in modern times, so they have cell phones. But, yeah, right. Can't talk to him. He's studying abroad.
Yeah, that too. We got the internet. We got phones. We got anything. Communications is at the touch of your finger.
I think they said Tanzania or something like that. Like they did say an actual country.
Well, that sounds African.
It's not African. I think it was like a European country.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
anyway. He's away.
Yeah, he's away. He just packed up one day and decided he needed to study abroad tomorrow. No party. That's unfortunate for him, I suppose. I really enjoyed the manga. It's probably one of the better manga light novel adaptations because I didn't have any crazy differences.
No, there's definitely added information.
Yes.
But that's really what it is. It's just added information. It's not differences.
Yeah, it's absolutely it. And it's probably just, all right, we need to condense some information somewhere. Where are we going to condense it? All right, let's give this side character that's not really a focal point, especially as far as season 1 is concerned. Mm-hmm. Let's just cut out the background information to kind of explain who he is.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Absolutely.
But as we progress into our main talk, did you come away with a favorite character from the series?
Favorite character? Tomoe.
Tomoe?
Tomoe is my favorite character.
She's a solid character.
She's so much fun.
Yep.
The just wanting to watch historical dramas like all the time. It's so funny. I really enjoyed just her moves. I enjoyed the samurai aspect to it, and she was a lot of fun. That's all I can say. I really like the fact that she's they gave her a reason to be essentially the secondary main character instead of just being like, well, she's the second person he ran into, so now she's important.
Yeah, right. She just so happens to be, well, at the moment, the strongest person he ran into just so happens to overpower her somehow and then claims her as a follower.
I love the explanation for the strength, but we can talk about that in a second.
Okay. I will agree with you as Tomoe being my favorite character.
Okay. Did you have a second favorite character?
Before I say my second favorite character, my favorite moment with Tomoe was when she sent Mio. This was later in this season 1. She sent Mio into a room with Makuto to sleep with him, and then Makoto is like, oh, well, I'm going to bed, so good night. And then Mio leaves. And then you can hear on the other side of the wall Tomoe just laughing and making fun of Mio because she couldn't score that night with
She couldn't
Makuto.
Do the deed, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
So I thought that was so goddamn funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the fact that you could hear him through the wall.
Yeah, perfect. Love that comedy. So, yeah, I agree with you. Tomoe is my favorite character. She's strong. She's funny. She's got a well-rounded just character build.
Yes.
Mio, on the other hand, is another very solid character.
Okay.
She's adorable for starters. I like her design. She's just, I don't know, nothing much further than adorable. And Mio caught my attention real early on in her spider form.
Okay.
When she first appeared, and she was breaking dimensions through a spider gate. I think this is a bit of anime logic because
Absolutely.
She does this amazing thing, much like Tomoe's Mist Gate. So she has that. Mio had this ability to just burst into something, and it just fucked everything up. And she is clearly very strong. I mean, they made 2 mentions that Mio is 200 levels higher than Tomoe, but that caught my attention. She's insanely strong. She took on Makuto's fire arrows, and she got hurt, but she didn't come close to dying at all.
Yep.
So she
was getting off on his.
Oh man, she was getting off on it. That was funny. But she's so goddamn strong, and she didn't get overpowered. Tomoe, I think Tomoe made that kind of a comment earlier. But anyway, she's stronger than she lets on, and she just holds my attention so much because the only reason she's under Makuto is because she took some damage and she just wants more here and there, not because she was overpowered per se.
She was definitely overpowered, but that's only because Makuto doesn't know how to tap into his strength, obviously, at this point.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I will say this was one of the series that I 100% judged a book by its cover, which is even funnier when you think about the premise of the show.
Yeah.
Because Makuto is this ugly thing, and the goddess thinks he's so hideous that she literally just kicks him to the end of the world. No divine protection, no nothing. It's just, all right, I hate you. I hate looking at you. I hate the way you sound.
Well, she did give just one little thing.
I mean, kind of. He can talk. Great. Yes, thank you.
The ability to talk to Ed, the ability to talk to everybody except humans.
Yes, only because she didn't want him to reproduce with humans.
Yeah, don't spread your seed.
So I think it's very funny and kind of fitting that this show, I feel like, is slept on, and that's almost part of the premise of the show, is that he's not like most main characters, so he gets slept on.
Yep, and it definitely helps that for all of season 1, he spends the majority of his time hiding away in the Demilands.
I don't know about a lot of his time, but he does wear the mask to cover his face to make sure that nobody judges him prematurely.
But I don't think the mask would stop the goddess from noticing him.
Correct. But she doesn't care about him.
That's what I was getting at. Because she can't notice him inside the Demiland.
Correct.
But she can notice him inside
everywhere else.
World.
Yeah. What'd you think of this show?
Season 1 was fantastic. Loved all of it. It was funny. It had a lot of great action scenes. It had world building. It made me look forward to continuing the series. A little bit behind the curtain. Of course, I continued watching it. So Matt and I both know what happened in season 2, but we're only going to talk about season 1, of course.
Yep.
So obviously, Tsukimichi was well worth the watch.
Absolutely.
You have anything to add to that?
No, I just hope people start watching this because it is very good, and don't judge a book by its cover. Yeah.
A lot of simplistic character designs going on that kind of plays into the comedy of how Makuto is kind of portrayed in season 1 about him being quote unquote ugly and whatever. Like that moment where that raccoon demi-human crossed paths with him, and then he had a heart-to-heart realization moment, like, oh my god, I do look like an ugly demi-human, whatever. So that was funny too.
And they do look very similar.
Yeah. The facial feature, of course it's animated, so the eyes were the exact same, nose, mouth, but you can definitely tell that they were similar. So that was funny.
Did you have a favorite moment?
I would think I want to pull one of my favorite moments from the final battle.
Okay.
And that's going to be when Makuto takes off his restrictions, his rings and stuff like that. Yep. And then he's able to unleash those demon lord powers that he was concealing. It just goes back to Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho, just taking off those restrictors and unlocking and unleashing your true power stuff. It's just, I want to see him go all out.
Okay.
Because that old elf, he's like a dwarf. He's like a dwarven elf, but he was trying to kill him with equipment.
He's a dwarf, but yes.
Right. So I'm pretty sure at times they made mention that he was
a high dwarf or something like that.
No, I want to say even elf. It's in my notes. My notes say he was an old dwarf, or at least that's what I said it was. But yeah, he was just making equipment to hold himself back so he didn't come across as he was too powerful.
Yep.
But yeah, the moment that you unleash your full power to a degree is always amazing, and that battle was just a lot of fun to watch.
Okay. Yep. Fair. I completely agree with that one. It definitely lived up to the moment, you could say.
Yeah, especially as like a season finale kind of thing.
And it was because I've already watched season 2, like there's some moments in here you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It was a good refresher for what happens in season 2 for sure.
Right.
As far as me, it's a super fucked up part, but it's the first time he kills somebody.
Nope, totally understand. That was going to be, I was tossing that up too.
It was just so good. The lack of emotion that he had up until like, it was like, oh, that's right. Killing people is bad. Like that's like, I do feel sad about this. Mm-hmm. And that whole moment that happened, because it's like, yes, she got what she deserved. I had no sympathy for what happened to her because of her lack of empathy towards killing a bunch of people and just her being super greedy. I was like, nope, you deserve that. That's perfectly fine.
Yep. You did this very specifically. This is your consequence.
Yep. And so that was my favorite moment, was that one.
No. Yeah. 100% felt that the entire time. Every time I watched this season, I was fully drawn into that. You really felt for him.
Yep.
The only thing that I could say that pulls me back to any degree is many times when I'm watching this show, it's hard for me to separate Makuto from Yuri from Spy Family.
Okay.
Just because obviously it's the same voice actor, but
I mean, sure, yeah, that's obvious.
That's really what it comes down. It's just it's funny to connect the two, but it's funny to have such a serious moment.
Yep.
And then always be constantly remembered that Yuri is just such a hyper character.
Yeah, I can kind of see that, I guess. I just really, it was probably the most impactful scene, is why I liked it so much.
Yeah. It was his first moment of taking life.
Yep.
Specifically.
And just chopping off her hands was great.
Mm-hmm.
Also for the fact that I was not 100% sure if Tomoe's like mini-me was going to come back either, which, I mean, we find out at the very end of the season that she does end up coming back. But up until that point, I was like, oh, shit.
Not the exact copy, but like a different copy.
Yep.
A different personality. Yeah. So because of that, it was warranted.
Yeah.
It was accepted. I'm sure most viewers were like, don't fuck with Makuto.
Yeah.
He's literally only trying to help.
Yeah. He just wants to make a world for himself and the people he cares about. And it's not like he's trying to overtake anything. He literally just, I want to exist in this world. Let me exist in this world. And
he's not even a hero. Yeah. He was relinquished of any hero duties, and he's still trying his best to help.
Kind of. I don't know if he's trying his best to make the world a better place, but
good point. I mean, I guess that's a little far for me to throw, but I mean, he's helping while he helps himself.
Yes. Yeah, I'll give you that one. What did you think of like all the extra races that were in this demiplane? Like, did you have a favorite set? Did you like them being there? Like, what did you think of them?
Well, before any kind of favoritism starts, instantly start thinking of slime. Yep. Because there's so many connections that's going on between the Demiland in Tsukimichi and what Rimuru's doing in Slime.
Yep.
So a lot of parallels. Kind of just have to just point out the obvious. But it's kind of hard to say because I already know what happens in season 2. We get introduced to a couple more.
Yep.
But I do start to feel sympathetic towards the orcs.
Okay.
Because they're really the first race that gets introduced into this land.
Yep.
Emma and the rest of her clan. You know, we got that one orc, like Hayato. That's the guy who got like a cut on his forearm, and then Makuto healed him, and he was super thankful. And then like half a season later, he ends up dying, and then that's what really activates like your favorite scene. Like they're just these pig orcs, and traditionally you don't think much of them, but like season 1, we're only focusing on just a couple of races as it is. We like these guys. This dude's super nice. All he wants to do is just build a better land for Makuto and Tomoe because he was given a better life because of them. So like you want the best for him, and it just sucks. So
Yes, yeah. Absolutely.
It's a great race. Hard workers, beautiful people. Do you have any? I mean, we only got introduced to like what? 3 other races?
So we got the Alkanes, which are the spiders.
The arachnids, yep.
We got the like lizard people.
Yeah, the teal, the blue-green lizards.
Yep. And then we obviously have the orcs, as you had already brought up.
Mm-hmm. So outside of what I said, do you have a preference?
I really like the Alkanes, which are the spiders.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the fact that they could change their appearance, I thought was really cool.
Yeah. Again, also reminded me a lot of slime.
Fair.
Like when you give them a name, they have a transformation.
Yes, but they didn't have to get names in this one.
Fair, yeah.
The lizards are just literally lizards.
Oh, is that what they're?
Misato lizards. Misato lizards is what they call them.
Misato? Okay.
Mist lizards, excuse me.
Mist, there it is. Yep. That sounds more familiar.
And so the spiders were probably my favorite part just because of their transformations. I thought were really cool because I wasn't expecting it because the orcs and the lizards couldn't transform. And then you're like, oh, they can transform. And then like they look kind of like humans with masks almost because their eyes are still black. And then later on in the season that we do get to see them with colored eyes and stuff. So I wasn't expecting that. And so that's kind of why I really liked them. Yeah,
that's a good point because they're not just forgettable characters completely because they do come back in the later part of the season because they're trying to advertise for, what was it, like the Forgotten City or whatever it was labeled?
The Mist City?
Something along those lines. Mist doesn't sound right, but they were guided to basically advertise for the crops that they were growing, like those fruits.
Yep.
And the weapons that the dwarves could make as well. Oh, yeah, the dwarves were also another...
Oh, yeah, duh. How did we forget about the dwarves?
Yeah. But yeah, the spider people definitely played a role. Nothing combat-wise. They were just more versatile in communications and sorts.
Yeah. They were like the alchemists and just could use magic.
Yeah. I guess with that being said, I mean, knowing what we know from season 2, I would like them to be a little bit more relevant. They seem pretty forgettable in background.
Okay. I understand that.
Ooh, they could even be ninja-esque or spy-like. If they can have the ability to, transform their figure.
They might only be able to transform
into that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, go between their spider form and their human form. It might be a one and done kind of thing. That makes sense.
Is there anything you're looking for as far as season 2 is concerned? Before you watched season 2 anyway?
Right. So, negating what I know, what I originally expected.
Yep.
The sisters, what looks like elf sisters, but in this anime, like, all elves are basically ogres. So the forest ogres, Aqua and Eris, they had a moment at the end of one of the episodes where they appeared to be very suspicious and very powerful.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to know what these two are capable of. And how much shit can they can destroy? Because it was just too ominous. It was very interesting. But then we got to learn a little bit more about them. And Eris had like these a lot of one-liners about just being a stupid person most of the time. Like she would just randomly say like wolf, and then Makuto was like, "Why'd you say wolf?" And like, "Oh, a divine presence told me to say." I'm like, "You can't claim yourself as a divine
yeah, because then he's like, I had a divine premonition or something like that, and he was like, oh, well, where'd you get that from? Oh, myself.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, just like that. Like, you can't just give yourself that kind of property. So she's very funny, but at the same time, as far as season 1 was concerned, yeah, she was silly, but I was still expecting great power coming from them, even though we knew, like, as we learned more of, like, Aqua and Eris's tribe and how they were going to, like, murder Makuto after the feast that they gave him to let his guard down. I thought that was really funny. It was probably one of the next funniest moments. But I did expect a lot to come out of them just because you didn't know too much else without spoiling anything else.
Okay, yeah. They seemed a lot stronger and more important than they really were.
Mm-hmm.
I could understand wanting to see more of them in season 2 because it's like, well, did they just are our characters just that strong where that's why they're really weak and not that important, or are they just kind of seem more important than they actually are?
What about you?
I was very curious about like what about the heroes was one that was kind of important because we saw the start of this human demon war, and you had Sophia and her basically helper
Lancer.
Lancer, thank you. And so I'm like, well, what's going on with this? Why are they here? They're supposed to be the good guys, and now they're the bad guys. Like, what's going on with this?
Yeah, this is the second time they portrayed the best of the heroes as being actual bad guys in season 1. Yeah,
pretty much the strongest people have always been bad guys. Minus, I'm not going to say Lime Latte was a bad guy. He just got duped.
He did. He got, for everybody to remember, Lime Latte got duped by some old guy who wanted to curse
Rembrandt's
the Rembrandt family. And he told them he was just going to put them to sleep, but it was an actual curse, and that would have, it was going to kill them, but it slowly turned them into demons, basically. And Lime had no idea that was the actual truth. So when he eventually got stopped, he decided to give up pursuing any kind of guild missions, and he was just going to focus on the orphanage.
Yeah, he was going to retire as an adventurer, which kind of happens, kind of doesn't happen. I'm very curious. I guess that's another thing I'm curious about as far as season 2. So he goes under Tomoe's wing. Now what? What's going to happen now? So I'm interested to learn about Lime Latte. I think that's an interesting concept as far as the series is concerned, is that, all right, all of our strongest people have been essentially turned into bad people. I wonder if that continues.
Yeah.
And then I'm very curious about the heroes, because again, we hear about them. We know one is from Makuto's world. Who are these people? Does he know who this person is? And then I also want to know how Makuto gets stronger. He's obviously trying to continuously get stronger, but how can he actually get stronger? While he does seem kind of OP, he does get injured quite often.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought this up, because this was one of the big questions I wanted to ask.
Okay.
So there was a moment when Makuto was practicing his bow and arrow.
Yep.
And then Mio and Tomoe were like, oh my god, I can't feel his presence anymore.
Yep.
He essentially killed himself. So the death and rebirth of himself as he transfers his consciousness back and forth between essentially his target and himself.
Yep.
Every time he does that, he gets stronger. So that sounds like a super OP ability, because it sounds like it takes nothing out of him. He's literally practicing. He takes no cons out of this, and he only gains out of it. So if he were to do this in the real world, not the real world, but outside the Demiland, I'm only saying this because with him getting stronger, the Demiland also is affected at the same time.
Yep.
So it makes me question, is there a difference between him doing that outside the Demiland and getting stronger, or if he does it inside the Demiland and things are getting altered in real time, is that screwing everything up? I don't know. I know it's a minute difference.
Yep.
But because of that quote unquote real time thing, is that really messing up the Demiland, because stars are changing, seasons are changing? I'm
gonna go with no. But I understand where you're getting at.
Right.
I just don't think inside or outside the Demiland matters.
Yeah, ultimately, I would agree. So, is there going to be a moment where can he not progress any further because the Demiland is just going to... Is this alternate reality... Is that even the right word to use? But,
Dimension?
Dimension? That's probably a better word. Thank you. The stronger he gets, the bigger that world gets, and the more problems that world gets.
Yep. Does it
without getting into season 2 material. We kind of need the pros and cons of him just doing this just to make sure that he remains godly.
Yeah.
Because they also made a mention at the end that he's approaching the power of the goddess. So where are we drawing lines between pros and cons here?
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm also very curious. Because I don't even have any speculations on...
Right? Because at this point, Makuto can continue to just get stronger and stronger.
Yep.
And it kind of appears that if he just abandons the Demiland and just let Tomoe control it, like it sound kind of, I would assume that as long as Makuto doesn't step foot, oh, you know what? Never mind. I was going to say, as long as she doesn't step foot into the Demiland's not going to be affected. But Tomoe is contracted under Makuto, so she's going to feel the instant effects of his growth. So that's... So, okay, so that all of that gets nulled. Everything's fucked from beginning to end.
The last 5 minutes of this conversation.
Yeah, exactly. So the more Makuto grows, the more the Demiland grows, and the more problems potentially grow.
Yes.
Today's episode brought to you by the word grow.
What is that in Japanese?
Quick Google search.
Bonus learning for you today.
Oh, this is not an easy word. Sodasu.
Sodasu?
Sodasu. Sodasu is to grow.
All right, so Sudasu.
Yeah. So, as Makuto
Sudasus,
so does the Demiland.
I would be very curious if there's a limit to it. As we've talked about in other shows, if he can this just be an infinite thing? Does it start taking over? Like, does it no longer become its own like pseudo space, alternate dimension, whatever you want to call it? Does it start like interfering with other dimensions, the world that they're living in?
Yep, that was what I was going to get at next. Is as far as dimensional stuff goes, a big question is always going to be interference, and when two worlds collide, what happens then? Like, is this going to be a legit perfect parallel universe kind of thing?
Yeah.
Or are these two universes that are going to collide? So that's something that needs to be explained, and I kind of would like to see a collision of these two.
Okay.
Just for drama.
Fair.
Mm-hmm.
Something that really got my ears perked was when Leech talks about his desire to go to another world.
Mm-hmm.
So the concept of alternate travel is a thing. Tomoe even brings it up like, yeah, no, this is a thing. You have a 10% chance. Mm-hmm. Do you think Makuto is eventually going to just give up trying to travel back to his original world?
That's a very solid question, because a lot of isekai would like... You know what? I can't even say that anymore. It kind of feels like today's isekai is always like, yeah, this new world is way better than the human world. Why would I ever want to go back?
My original life sucked.
Right.
Or I got stabbed, or I died by truck-kun.
Right.
So I gotta stay here.
In this world, we have to remember that Makuto has two sisters in the real world, in his world.
And his parents. His parents are alive.
They're not officially dead.
No.
Oh, God. That's one thing we have to remember.
Yeah.
Is that, yeah, they're still around. What the hell's going on with that? That could be something, whatever. We can, let's save that for season 2 material.
Yeah, okay.
Not that this is a spoiler to anybody, but talking about the parents, there needs to be some kind of crisscross. Anyway, the point is, yes, I do 100% think that Makuto would want to risk that 10% chance, or rely, maybe not even rely, but work with the Leech and figure out a more precise calculation on getting back to his specific world.
Okay, I can understand that. I want to believe that he's going to give up on it.
Oh, yeah?
I want to. I think it's for Tomoe and Mio and Leech and all the people that are in the Demi plane. I want him to want to stay there. I want him to understand that, you know, his followers enjoy him being there. Mm-hmm. And that's why they're there. Not because this is just a better place, but because he makes it a better place for them.
Right.
And so I want him to quit being so oblivious that goes for more than one way, and just finally see the two women trying to like basically strip all their clothes to be like, do something with me. Not obviously not, because that's a different type of show.
Right.
If that happens, but just be less oblivious.
Yeah. Just be serious.
I think he is serious, and I think that's the problem. Is that
he's too serious.
Yeah, he's too serious. I think he just needs to realize what's going on and quit being so dumb.
Maybe the difference is stop being so serious and be a little bit more realistic.
Yeah, and all these demi-humans in this plane want to be there for him.
Right.
Enjoy it. Don't be like, oh, well, you're just here. Yay, cool, thanks. It's one of those things where I feel like it's just a typical trope where the main character gets all flustered when it comes to pseudo-sexual things or attractive women being around him. Because you had the prostitute that he ends up stabbing in the throat, which is great. Yep. And the Tomoe and Mio, he acknowledges that they're women, but he does not acknowledge the advancements that they're trying to make on him. It's just one of those typical anime tropes where he gets all flustered every time that something happens. What you were kind of getting at earlier was oblivious. Yep. I did find it funny how they essentially made jokes about it where Mio would start counting when people would hold his hand. Yep. Hilarious. And just get super off the rails. So much so that eventually he had to cut himself and give her his blood to help wind down her rage. Oh, yeah. Though I would like that to be a very common trope, that every time she starts to get a little extra, he just needs to give her his blood to calm her down. Yeah, suck up some of his blood. Yeah. I would like to see that more often, just because it's different. That's really about it. Mm-hmm. Also, I guess, I was about to say, it would almost make more sense that she was a vampire, but spiders live off of blood, so it makes sense. Sure, yeah, okay. He is the only thing that could ever satisfy her as far as her hunger, so... Yeah, her and her clan, too. Yeah. So that was funny. One person we haven't really talked about is Emma. What do you think of her as a character? Emma the pig was very interesting at first. What was it, the first episode where she got introduced? Mm-hmm. And then Makuto was like, if she's the first heroine I save, is she going to be the one I marry and we have relations? And of course it's a pig and it's gross and it's not sexually attractive. But at the same time, Emma's also this badass character, and they make multiple comments about her being more and more confident in her just position of the world that she's now kind of running, or at least helping run. Yeah. So she's badass, but at the same time, she doesn't hold the sexual attraction that most people would wish that she had. Yeah. So it's just really funny, these crossroads that they are, and it's just whatever. It's just Emma's a great character. Yes. And I don't know what else to expect. Do you have anything else to add to her? I agree with your assessment that she's a great character. I love the line where when Tomoe comes back with the crab, and to get Tomoe back, it was saying that Mio was eating all of the memories, and the guy was just well, I don't know. That was just what Emma told me to tell her. Yep. And it's a very easy one-liner to miss, but it just kind of shows how smart Emma is. Exactly. And so she's very much needed. She's the pushy secretary, at least in this series. She's the pushy secretary that kind of helps ring in all of these characters. Right. And so I think she's a great character. My other favorite part is when they first meet, they as in Makuto and Emma, and Makuto saves her, and then she's trying to run away, and you've got the video game questionnaire thing where it's run away, nope. Yep. Scream, nope. And I know there's a third one, but it was also a no. And it was, I think, one of my favorite parts of the series as a whole is just the fourth wall type breaks that they make, where Makoto is continuously oh, I guess this is how an isekai works. And he keeps talking about being isekai'd. And then you've got this fourth wall stuff with Emma, and it helps lighten up the mood of the series, because as a whole, the show is kind of dark, and it's darker themed, very mature themes. You've got the merchant section, you've got the curse, you've got the shitty goddess, and all of these very dark kind of themes, and you need a little bit of lightheartedness when it comes to breaking everything up. Yeah, but after that,
Aside from the very last battle of Makuto versus Lancer and Sophia, it's a great battle.
Yes.
A lot of stuff happened. The fact that he turned his rings into bombs and stuff like that were really fun.
Yeah.
I made mention that my favorite moment was him just like unleashing some of his power after destroying some of that stuff. The last battle was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I will be remiss to at least talk about Rembrandt a little bit. I am curious to see what more we get from him. That's about really all I want to talk about. He's a merchant. We feel like he's on Makoto's side, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So what does he do for Makoto? Like how is he going to be a vital part in Makoto's future as far as a merchant is concerned? And that's really all I want to talk about. With that being everything, as far as Tsukimichi Season 1 is concerned, it was a lot of fun. Don't judge a book by its cover, or judge a book by its cover, but watch it anyways, because it was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of build-up as far as Season 2 is concerned, which I know we're going to cover Season 2 in the future, and make sure to keep an eye out for that one. In case anybody wants to know what we are drinking today, I am drinking some Willet Bourbon whiskey. Delicious. Definitely wanted to keep drinking it. It's very good. And have a Spotted Cow. What about you, Lance?
Today I had been drinking a Green River Kentucky Straight Bourbon whiskey, and also been sipping back some Wisconsin New Glarus Spotted Cow.
Nice. Very nice. Lance had been doing a fantastic job of stumping me with some Pokemon quizzes. Hopefully I can do better this time around. But Lance, what do you got for us?
Yeah, so today's Pokemon quiz is going to be a little bit different.
Oh, no.
In respect to the latest video game.
Ooh, which is?
The latest mobile game, Pokemon trading card game Pocket.
Fun times, yep.
At this point, it's probably been out at about a month and a half, depending on how late you listen to this episode. But anyway, my first question is going to be, in this video game, how many copies of a Pokemon are allowed in your deck?
Dos.
Yes, 2 is the correct answer.
I know that one. I got that one good.
Gave you a pretty easy one right off the bat.
If I couldn't get that, I might as well just walk away. Just throw my headset down and walk out.
Yeah, and for anybody that's interested, the Pokemon trading card game Pocket mobile game, it's a lot of fun. Definitely give it a try if you like the card game.
Absolutely.
All right, question 2. In Gen 2, the third gym leader, Whitney, she had a Pokemon made out of the obstacles inside her gym. What Pokemon was made out of those obstacles?
Oh, man. Grass. Was it a bush type Pokemon?
Okay. It might help for me to let you know that Whitney's anchor Pokemon was Miltank.
Oh, gross. I hated that Pokemon.
Yeah.
No, I'm drawing a blank.
Complete blank?
Yeah.
Okay, so Whitney, her Pokemon were, I think, Clefairy and Miltank. If you were to be inside her gym and zoom out,
okay,
the obstacles within the gym made a Clefairy.
Oh, I don't know if I ever did that.
I only really knew that because one of my old friends had the guide.
Okay.
And I kind of feel like you had that. No, you didn't have a gold silver guide.
I definitely had a gold silver guide.
Oh, well, then it's in your guidebook where you have a sky view of the entire gym where it shows the location of every, not gym leader, but gym member, and all the obstacles. And if you look at the obstacles, it has the outline of a Clefairy.
Apparently, I'm just too right-brained, and I can't do that one. I have the guidebook upstairs, so we can look at that later.
Okay. Well, bonus thing,
okay.
Because Whitney's gym was Clefairy, the little miniature safari zone that was going on up there, I don't remember what they called it in Gold, Silver, Crystal, but where you can catch the bug type Pokemon.
Yep.
That whole area was designed as a Pokeball. So the top half had darker grass and the bottom half had lighter grass. And if you were to zoom out, it was a Pokeball.
Interesting.
That's why there was a waterfall in the middle. The waterfall represented the center button of the Pokeball.
Huh.
Yeah, so little bits of information.
Little tidbits.
All right. Final question.
Okay.
Second with Gen 2.
Okay.
Tyrogue evolves at level 20 based on his stats. Which stat must be higher for him to get a Hitmonchan evolution?
Oh, Hitmonchan is speed? Or, sorry, no, because it's attack and defense. So I'm going to say defense.
Final answer?
Yes.
Ah, correct.
Oh, man, look at me go.
Look at you go. You got 2 correct today. Yes. So, Tyrogue, if you want a Hitmonchan, your defense must be higher than your attack. If you want a Hitmonlee, your attack must be higher than your defense. If you want a Hitmontop, they must be equal.
I can thank Pokemon Go for that one.
Oh, yeah? There you go. You tried specifically evolving a Hitmon or a Tyrogue?
No.
Or
No.
You guys say yeah at that point.
Yes, exactly. I 100% did. Because they're very useful Pokemon in Pokemon Go.
I wish they were. I know you're being very sarcastic there, but the Hitmon evolution chain they're just not that good. They're not that reliable.
No, not at
all.
all.
In the Pokemon games, they're decent, but in Go, they're useless.
They're fine. That's the issue with Go, is that you have a select few Pokemon, and other than that, everything else is useless.
Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate.
Yep.
But yeah, that's my quiz for today. You did 2 out of 3, so good job. Congratulations.
Go me. I'll pat myself on the back for that one.
With that being said, this is going to conclude today's episode of the Anime Lounge podcast. Thank you, everybody, for listening to us this far. If you have, please give us a rating or a like on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Also, please give us a follow on our YouTube series where we popular anime that's going on every week. And please give an additional follow to the Anime Show on Facebook and Instagram, where they stay up to date on anime news and everything. And until next time, we will see you then.
Have a good one.